Set within the framework of the Dune Encyclopedia timeline, this story blends Cold War spycraft, post-Soviet intrigue, and futuristic geopolitics with the slow, deliberate rise of artificial intelligence and shadow governments. In later volumes, these forces evolve, becoming the early seeds of interplanetary civilization. For longtime Dune enthusiasts, you may recognize faint echoes, small technological and philosophical fingerprints. But let me be clear, there is no direct connection to the inner workings of the Dune Encyclopedia or Herbert's novels. This is its own world, one I've been constructing for over 40 years. Had it not been for the long isolation of COVID, this universe might never have seen daylight. What began as a personal refuge has now grown into a vast, interconnected narrative, one built with heart, discipline, and intent. Thank you for taking the time to join us. As we move closer to the official funding launch, we wanted to give you a glimpse into the world of Terra, beginning with the main characters from books 1 and 2. These first 2 volumes mark the initiation of a 10-book epic, a saga decades in the making. Now that you've seen the shape of the world I've built, it's time to meet the main characters who live within it. Clot, a ghost from another age. When life was lived on the knife's edge and survival went to the quickest hand. He learned early that trust was a last resort, earned only after every other option had failed. Incarceration didn't break him. It refined his brutality. From the frozen northern Arctic to the Gulag camps and into the shadows of post-Soviet Russia, he became known for his cold precision. Now an aging relic of violence and conviction, his scars are a map of ideology, his mind a ledger of sins written in code and blood. In his final years, even his daughter Hola, a Soviet myth in her own right, sought him out to train a new generation. And he did, passing on every ruthless lesson the world had ever taught him.
Aurora, born from secrecy and trained by her grandfather Clot in the art of Siberian endurance. Schooled within one of the Soviet Union's elite military academies, she became a star pupil and an even deadlier assassin. Her loyalty is fractured, her motives hidden, but her precision remains unmatched. She stands at the threshold of a new epoch, drawn not by allegiance but by necessity. It took a failed assassination to reveal another path, one that would forge the crucible in which the future of Terra begins to take shape.
Miles Alejandro Bauer Alvarez, a cyber intelligence prodigy and cryptographic savant. Born to a Spanish father and a Mexican mother, his mind was wired for patterns from the moment he could read. He saw the world as a code, everything reducible to rhythm, structure, and hidden meaning. Recruited by MI6 for his brilliance, he became one of their youngest assets in the post-digital espionage era. Yet his dual heritage, his refusal to follow command, and his unpredictable ethics made him both invaluable and impossible to control. To some, he was a weapon, to others, a liability. To Miles, he was simply playing a longer game, one the rest of the world hadn't yet realized had already begun. Jessica Sambica, a soldier forged in discipline and silence, raised under state supervision after losing her family to conflict, she learned to survive before she learned to dream. The Philippine Army made her strong, but hardship made her unbreakable. Within the Special Forces, she became known for her precision, her calm, and her refusal to quit, no matter the odds. Commanders trusted her instincts more than their own plans, and her silence carried more authority than a shouted order. Beneath that stoic exterior lies a fierce loyalty, not to flags or titles, but to the few who've earned her respect. In a world built on deception, Jessica Sambica remains the one constant, disciplined, dangerous, and incorruptible. Prescott, born into privilege, educated in the quiet luxury of private tradition, yet always restless beneath the polish. Service, not society, proved better suited to his temperament. He turned his back on the expectations of high culture and chose the parachute regiment, where action spoke louder than lineage. From there, his skill and composure earned him a place within the SAS, a world that sharpened his discipline into instinct. His record caught the eye of Whitehall's watchers, and he was soon headhunted into the civil service, and ultimately MI5. There he became a man of order, intellect, and quiet precision, a strategist whose calm authority masked a lifetime of covert choices that shaped nations. Haunted by duty and bound by secrecy, Prescott remains the perfect paradox. A man forged by privilege, defined by service, and consumed by the cost of both. And finally, we come to the catalyst. Had life taken a kinder path, this man might have known privilege and peace, a quiet life built on inheritance and intellect. But fate had other plans. Welcome Ivan Khodorkovsky, a man shaped by tragedy long before he understood the meaning of survival. After his father's suicide and his mother's mental collapse, he and his younger brother were sent to a state orphanage, a place where cruelty was routine and affection a myth. The world hardened him, but not quickly enough to save his brother. His only thread of normality was severed when that brother was brutally killed. Accident or not, the pain was absolute. In his rage, Ivan took revenge the only way he knew how. He killed the orphanage director's son. That act set in motion a chain of events that would echo for centuries, through prisons, across borders, and into the corridors of power. From that moment, Ivan ceased to be a victim of circumstance and became something far more dangerous. A man who believed destiny could be forced into submission. Incarcerated while still a minor, the result of the orphanage owner's thirst for revenge, Ivan was condemned to 5 years in the frozen hell of Siberia's northern gold mines. It should have killed him. The cold alone was a weapon, the labor unending, the cruelty relentless. Yet his youth and his will to survive became his armor. Among the broken and forgotten, he found unlikely allies, men who saw in him a spark worth preserving. They knew what he did not yet understand, that if he survived, he would inherit a fortune. The state court had seized his father's telecommunications empire before the fall of the wall, but the assets lay dormant, waiting. By the time Ivan Khodorkovsky walked free, he carried with him purpose, wealth, and vengeance, a fortune worth hundreds of millions, and land vast enough to hide the plans that would one day shake nations.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The stage is set, the dice are loaded, and the game is already in motion. In the end, there can be only one victor, or can there? Now you've seen and heard their stories, the wounds that made them, the choices that defined them. Some of you will already be choosing sides, deciding who to champion and who to despise. But be careful, you'll change your mind more than once. And don't be surprised if by the end, you find yourself standing with the villain. Because only when you understand the full history, every motive, every consequence, will you see the truth for what it is. This isn't just a story of conflict. It's a story of evolution, of commitment to a cause, whether right or wrong, and the cost that comes with both. So read carefully, listen closely, and when the last page turns, ask yourself not who was good or evil, but who was willing to go further. Welcome to my world.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Terra. Subscribe and share. And if you'd like to see this world come to life, join my funding platform. Every bit of support helps. Even a single like makes a difference.